Well, we do have a problem. One of our staff people participated in the Scrabble tournament. She did not win, but she told me that she learned more about words that she never heard of playing in that tournament she'd never heard of before. But anyway, congratulations.
Pass that along to your better half, Patty Tannenbaum.
I definitely will.
We will do that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, so while we're getting our next guest here, let's talk. I think the first thing we're noticing in this mail vote is I have the O numbers, we'll get to that in a second, but a very tight race for that second spot between Julian Gold and Nancy Krasny. Now,
wasn't supposed to be that tight.
But let's make a big point here. The walk-in vote has not materialized at all. That could have a huge effect because, as we've discussed, we have seen many elections where the absentees show one trend, poll vote shows another trend. So it's too early to call, obviously, anybody.
No, absolutely.
And let's just explain to our readers why that is.
Well, for a lot of reasons, the absentee vote is not reflective of the, we have one more precinct. Let's give that one before we do anything else. This is precinct number 18 by mail.
Yeah, this is the, what we call it the Beverly Hills BMW area. It's around Temple Emmanuel there, Burton Way area.
In this one, it's interesting because these precincts have an interrelationship and yet they're voting so differently.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure that out in a post-election survey.
Yeah.
But in 18, Lily Bosley is leading by 150. Second place here is Nancy Krasny by 132.
Right.
Gold by 112.
Right.
And why don't you do the ballot?
Okay, 2P, we have 183, yes, 2P, no, 70, so again, very strong showing for 2P, yes. 3P, 77 yes, 173 no, and then O, losing in that precinct, 113 yes, 125 no. Again, that's another royalty precinct. I think we're seeing that. Rudy, let me introduce our next guest, who actually is from the No on O campaign, Ted Green. Welcome.
Good evening.
Ted, you represent some oil companies who have teamed up together to fight Measure O. Why fight Measure O?
Well, more specifically, I represent a coalition of groups and companies that oppose Measure O, including the California Small Business Alliance, the Beverly Hills School Board, hundreds of individual residents that were concerned about Measure O for a number of reasons. First off, it was a 500% tax increase on energy production here in Beverly Hills, and it would ultimately cost thousands of Beverly Hills residents and businesses and nonprofits and houses of worship money.
By that you mean their royalty checks, or in what way would it cost money?
Well, one part is it would reduce royalty payments that are going to residents and businesses, and it would also drive up energy costs. What Beverly Hills was proposing was the highest oil extraction rate of any city in California, a 500% increase.
By the way, the vote on your measure at the moment is 1106 yes, 1030 no. So
narrowly ahead.
Narrowly ahead.
And that I've been listening to you in the green room, just so I understand. That represents mail-in.
Yeah, only.
Mail-in votes. As we know, we don't know if they're mixing
No, there's
by now.
no precinct votes yet that we're aware of.
We think they're not. We're not actually sure if they mix the two by now or not. That represents total votes 9, 3 is 12, something like more than almost 40% of the vote.
Yeah, but I think it looks to me like
it's 2,000. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so
but I want to ask you a question about what you said about precinct 18. You gave the numbers in 18.
Yeah.
So is it your understanding that represents all the votes that are going to come in?
No, it's just the mail vote.
Okay.
Right, but to give you an example, the mail vote could be 60% of the total vote. So the precinct vote is likely to be smaller than the mail vote because with every election we've seen the poll vote getting smaller, the mail vote getting larger. More people are voting.
Right, but if the precinct vote is 60%, that's more than
absolutely. And when I was making Rudy, hold on,
I have a final return, so we'll come back. Don't mean to interrupt your question.
No, I'm interested in the numbers myself.
Yeah, you might be. Yes, the numbers I gave you a moment are still true on Measure O. Yes, 1,106. No, 1,038. Going back to the candidates, Lily Bosley still comfortably leading, 1,471. Gold pulling ahead of Nancy Krasny with 1,119. Krasny 1,068. Very close, 32, about 51 vote difference between Gold and Krasny. And for the other measures, Josh, you can read those.
Well, I think we see a clear trend here. Yes on 2P 1423, no on 2P 849. So about a 600 vote spread there. That's going to be very hard for them to overcome on the no side. Yes on 3P 723, no on 3P 1474. So 2-to-1 loss there on on 3P, and then, of course, O, we talked about our numbers. So, Ted, back to your group. How did they come to you, and how did the group come together? Was it that when they first heard about this initiative, or what made them want to band together?
Well, that's a really interesting question because it happened fast. The city council first voted in November to put this on the ballot. Then they redid it in December because they realized that they had made some mistakes in November. That was the first that the 4 companies that produce oil in Beverly Hills heard what the city was up to. The city didn't talk to them beforehand, didn't try to find a reasonable compromise, just bam, went forward with a 500% tax increase. We got involved in December to put together a campaign against it, and we'll find out here in the next few hours what the results will be.
Yeah. Rudy, go ahead.
Yeah, you didn't develop a lot of community people. You didn't have a former council member or anything like that supporting you. Did you think that had an effect on your campaign as well? I mean, this business alliance that you formed, I don't know if it had any Beverly Hills membership.
Well, that means you haven't been to our website lately, because we had hundreds of Beverly Hills.
Website?
And folks can go to it right now, nomeasureo.com.
Okay.
Because there are hundreds of Beverly Hills residents who publicly came out against Measure O.
Oh.
And they're listed on our website. And they turned out.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. You have a lot of people who are going to be, you're going to pass through the tax to your contractees. But in terms of community leaders, any former mayors, any?
Well, both the Beverly Hills Courier and the Beverly Hills Weekly, as you know, editorialized no.
Yes.
But do we have a list of former council members? No.
That usually has an impact on the election here, but evidently it didn't.
Well, we'll see. I think it's too early to say.
Absolutely.
But the Beverly Hills City Council certainly pushed hard for Measure O, and I know your analysis is that they kind of put it out there and walk away from it. I don't agree with that. I think if you look at their In Focus publication, which was basically a taxpayer-paid ad for Measure O, the City Council and the city staff made their intentions very clear. And both the Municipal League of Beverly Hills and the Beverly Hills School Board president asked the City Council in the last month to preemptively rescind Measure O because the information that was provided to the voters in Beverly Hills by the city is misleading, has been misleading.
Ted, that's for you, Rudy. Ted, tell us a little bit, what's your background and how did you specifically come into it?
Well, I work for a political consulting firm called Woodward & McDowell, and we run ballot measure campaigns. I grew up here on the west side. And
can you give us an example of another type campaign that you've been affiliated with?
Well, the most recent campaign we did, a statewide one, was No on Proposition 24, which was on the ballot November 2010. That was a measure to repeal tax reforms that California adopted to encourage job growth in our state. Voters turned that down. Overwhelmingly, we ran the No campaign.
Do you describe yourself as a political junkie? Do you eat this stuff up like Rudy and I do?
Well, someone once said I must have been born with a bumper sticker in my hand. I started volunteering in the ninth grade.
Oh, wow.
Started working on campaigns when I was at college at USC, and have never stopped.
Let me give you some quick returns
go ahead, Rudy.
on the candidates' vote. This is mail. They tell me mail by precinct number 25.
Okay, that's the BV at Beverly Vista area.
Beverly
Central
Vista
City.
area, right.
Okay.
A lot of runners in that area as well. Lily Bossy, 178, still running comfortably first. Very close here between Krasny and Gold. Krasny, 108, one vote ahead of Gold.
Yeah, let me just interrupt you. Once again, another precinct, Rudy, where they're one vote apart.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to make any predictions tonight, but we have been through some 4-vote elections in our history
one vote.
where one or other candidates have won by 4 votes, or in some cases even less. So this might be a long night, but go ahead.
It may be a long night, but at least, and again, repeating, generally, the absentee vote is better for incumbents than challengers, and incumbents do well in the walk-in. This may be very different because Nancy has been kind of opposed to some of the council majority votes.
Right, and she's not the garden variety incumbent, as we were discussing.
That's also true.
We got one more question for Ted Green.
Let me finish the returns here. Almost interesting. Gold has about a 50 vote edge on Nancy Krasny. Gold at 1226, totals 1176. Here are the totals. You can read at least the Measure O party.
Okay, and then get ready for our last question for Ted. Okay, we have 2P 1573, 937 no, so that's about a little less than 600 votes ahead. 3P 807 yes, 1625 no, so once again that 2-to-1 trend is continuing. oh, yes, 12, no, 1158. So
Very
that's
close.
what, about 60 votes and change,
Yeah.
so that
Again,
could be
these are.
Absentee only.
Absentee vote. Absentees tend to be among, seniors and also north voters. Truesdale area votes heavily, not where you have digging, not where you have extraction, I assume.
Well, and you made a good point, which is in the southern precincts, clearly O was doing much worse than in the northern precincts. So,
Worse, depending on your point of view.
Yeah.
I think there's another factor
worse
that's
in
going to influence the difference between mail ballots and precinct ballots to a certain degree. You know, it was 30 days ago that the city roughly mailed out the mail ballots.
Yes.
It was only 2 weeks ago tonight that the school board came out against Measure O. So there were many votes that had already been cast
Exactly.
without that
Right.
information.
We'll see how they react in the
So one
walk-in.
theory is that we're going to do better with precinct voters
Yeah.
than we
I
did with
think
mail
that-
voters overall.
that very well may be true if that trend continues. Well, Ted Green, thank you very
Thanks
much.
for being our guest.
Our
Nice
pleasure.
seeing you
Okay,
again.
well, we have
Thank
our
you.
next guest coming in here, Rudy. Well, just some initial surprises. I think both of us